Services in collaboration with T-hub, and I have to mention the support of our promotional partner Headstart. On that note, I would like to thank Mr. Siddhi Patel for his unwavering support to make this event a reality. We begin the event with a fine panel discussion, and it's a pleasure to invite our distinguished guests and the panelists today. Welcome Mr. Vikrant Varshni, co-founder Succeed Innovation Fund. His extensive experience as a venture capitalist and quite well known to foster and fund some groundbreaking startups here. We are eager to hear your insights about the current trends and future prospects of the startup ecosystem. And it's also a pleasure to invite Mr. Arun, a founder of Race Energy, a visionary entrepreneur who's pushed the boundaries of clean energy solutions in India. His journey is marked by innovation, of course, and also great resilience. We are eager to hear from you all your experiences and your thoughts about the sustainable energy within the startup ecosystem. We'd like to welcome Mr. Devansh Lakhani, Director, Lakhani Financial Services, and the host for today. His expertise in the startup ecosystem and fundraising, and he has nurtured several great startups. His dedication to continuously build platforms that help connect investors and entrepreneurs is truly commendable. And please help join me to welcome the panelists and kickstart this wonderful evening. Over to you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, first of all, Devi, for this wonderful introduction, of me, and of course, the panelists out here. Thanks a lot, Devi, for doing this, and thank you, T-hub, for hosting us, hosting LFS, allowing us to come here and do this event with all of you guys in Hyderabad. This is our first time in Hyderabad. We've done other events in Mumbai, but first time in Hyderabad. So nice to meet all of you. Of course, we're going to meet one-on-one after this in the networking also over high tea and snacks. But thank you everyone for coming here. It gives me immense joy to just do this with all of you guys and learn from all of you, learn from the panelists out here. We're going to quickly probably take quick introductions from Arun and Vikrant before I shoot some questions to them, in this good fireside chat. And also, once I get done, would love to probably have your questions shoot at them, and they would be happy to answer your questions too. Maybe Arun, if you would want to go first, maybe a quick intro about what is Race, what do you do, etc. That would be lovely.
Sure. Thanks, Devansh. Firstly, thanks for having me over here. We're building Race Energy. Race Energy is a full-stack electric vehicle startup working in the auto rickshaw space, the passenger auto rickshaw space. We're building these electric vehicles as on a battery swapping platform, rather than your typical charging or having a fixed battery. And so on one side we do these auto rickshaws with these swappable batteries, and then on the other side we set up swap stations across the city. We are primarily present in Hyderabad. I think one station right outside T-hub, if you just exit, you'll find it on the road itself. And we also partner with HPCL and BPCL to set up stations there, kind of like an alternate to your petrol or gas filling experience. It's because it's very similar. You just swap the batteries in a couple of minutes. Yeah, that's what we do.
Vikrant, of course, being the managing director of Succeed Innovation Fund. Please, Vikrant, you can give us a quick intro. Many people are already aware about you. Probably you are very popular in this building, but still, for formality's sake, you can go.
No, I guess it's always a good idea to say hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us on a Friday afternoon. I run an early stage venture capital fund called Succeed Innovation. Before we started this fund, we were also running a small fund called Triple IT Seed Fund, specifically working with IIT Hyderabad Deep Tech Incubator. We made 10 investments. We were not sure of an early stage category. We interestingly had 6 exit in 2.5 years, and that does not happen too often. That gave us a confidence to roll out a larger fund. So we went to SEBI, took our license, rolled out our fund during the COVID time. To get a license from SEBI without visiting their office does not happen too often, but we were happy it was done during COVID time. In 2.5 weeks with all digital application, we got a license. We interestingly went out in the market only on Zoom, got our funds only during Zoom calls. That does not happen too often, so we were happy. We started to go to incubators. We have about 47 incubators. They were looking to welcome investors who would come and fund the companies at an incubation stage, because that does not happen too often. VCs visit them but never fund them, right? They always like to wait for performance to turn into results, into tractions, into volume, into profit, and that takes years. And our category specifically is to fund when you need the fund at the design stage. Okay, so we are an early stage fund who works at an incubator, who would give you early capital when you need it, when you are building the product. If you build it successfully, if you scale it nicely, you get more funds. Our investment thesis is 1-4-16. I give you first unit when you are at an MVP stage. We give you 4 units as you grow, and we give you 16 units when you need to scale further, right? Which means if you are good in execution, we are there to back you for at least 3 rounds. Now we have launched a second fund, which is a growth stage fund. So you are at least secured for 2 more rounds after that. So an investor who would be in your journey for 5 rounds will catch you young and will grow you bigger. With our effort and with our network, that's our investment thesis. We invest in 7 sectors. T-hub is one of those 47 partners that we work with. We work very closely with T-hub since 2016. For me, T-hub is like coming home every week from IIT where I operate. All team members, we almost treat them like an extended family members. So if you are based out of T-hub, you can always catch up when we are in T-hub. If not, then be in T-hub so that you could catch us. Good marketing, right?
Wonderful marketing. Vikrant, you mentioned about that you are an early stage fund and you try to catch startups early. Probably many of us don't know the reason why you started this fund or your earlier first fund also. So would you want to tell us something about the why behind supporting these startups? What's that purpose behind going so strong, going so hard on investing and building startups?
Okay, I'll give you a philosophical reason, then I'll give you a commercial reason. Philosophical reason is there is nobody who would support you when you need the money, right? That's
There is someone saying exactly.
So when you need the money, government say, I'll give you this grant, I'll give you that capital, there is SIDBI who will give you money, bank who will give you X, Y, Z. None of them, and he's recording so I'll go polite, they make it difficult for you. Okay? We wanted to be present when the funds are needed the most and in shortest possible time so that you could use this and scale it faster. When IIT reached out to us to give them the funds, their incubating company, their observation was that they take 4 to 5 years to bring the product to the market, and in that product time frame, Valleys or the guys in Israel would bring their product to the market and they will get the first mover advantage. The guy in IIT was still making the same product, but the guy in Israel would bring the product sooner, or the guy in Valley will bring the product sooner, will get the patenting in their name, and then will fetch the benefit forever. If I can give you an initial money to give your MVP product sooner to the market, the client will start to evaluate your product also within 4 months and 5 months. Then it is left onto your imagination to scale, on your execution to scale your imagination to a reality, right? And that's why we give the early check. That's a philosophical answer. And we believe in philosophy, so it's true that we are supporting it. But there is also a commercial answer. If I catch you young, if I lock you in at the time when others were not touching on you, I will have a better valuation with you. I am taking a larger risk, but I am also taking a larger reward because then I will be connected with you for 5 rounds of funding. I would have better valuation control, I would have larger alpha, I would have better rights, and I would have more opportunity to guide your journey. That's my commercial reasons to start early. Why don't lot many people do that? Because it is risky, it is tedious, it is time consuming, it's not profitable for lot many folks. There are several reasons why people don't enter into that area. We have been doing it efficiently, so we are good.
Wonderful. That's a good breakdown of the answer, philosophical and commercial. So wonderful. Arun, coming to you, tell us about your journey. How did Race start? And of course, this sector is a sunrise sector. I mean, it has been now almost. I think it is a very good sector to be in. But 5 years back, it was a sunrise sector, right? And what is your reason of starting Race in this, this business, basically?
Yeah, sure. We have been in the automotive space since a very young age. Both myself and my co-founder, we've been building race cars since we were like 16, 17 years old. These formula style race cars, some of you might know. We used to be very passionate engineers. Thankfully, at our college, there was 0% attendance, so all the time we would be just building race cars, and we would eventually ship them to Europe, race them in Formula One tracks there. In that journey as well, it was like a large team, about 80 to 100 people, working with Honda, Honeywell, raising money, sponsorship, all of that stuff. So we got to experience, what it is to build a product, or in a way of a startup, in a very informal way, as a college student and all of that stuff. After that, we did work for a couple of years in different industries, but felt like there was not much innovation happening. And so we quit our jobs even before we had an idea, just because we just didn't want to work that way. We wanted to build something ourselves, and we felt like the opportunity was there. This was 2018, 2019, I think Ather had raised some money, Ultraviolet had raised some money. So we felt like the opportunity was there, and this was, once in a century opportunity, we'll never get it again. And that's how we got started, and we started looking for a problem that we could solve. We spoke to different segments, different drivers, eventually zeroed down on passenger auto rickshaws, because that's where we felt we could build a moat with our product. Our expertise was to build products. Our expertise is not on the operation side, or that was not what we wanted to do, like a fleet operator or something like that. So we got into that, and we figured battery swapping would be a right solution for this market, and we started trying to build this from off-the-shelf products. Figured there's no solution out there, and we realized we have to do this completely by ourselves. So 2019 was around this time, and we got our first check in 2020, and we literally had 15 days to enjoy that money. I mean, we could place orders or stuff like that. Literally 15 days into it, the Chinese went into the new year, and we all know what happened after that. So ever since then, it's been a tough journey to build hardware products here, not anywhere, rather. So it took us a lot of time before we entered the market about a year back. So it took us about 2 to 3 years to develop this product. But yeah, that was what the journey was. At least I think the dream of building your own vehicle and someone using it on a day-to-day basis has been the most inspiring thing. Or you, even if you don't have a great day, you see someone use your auto rickshaw, use a vehicle that you built, it's crazy. Like, it's just a different experience.
Yeah.
Hope that we can sell a lot more vehicles in the future.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I think, just while coming to Hyderabad in the morning, when I was entering this building, I just saw his, is it a shelf or what is it called?
It's a swap station.
It's a swap station outside the building, at the exit of this building. So I felt really good that, okay, Arun is going to come for the event. So it's a good moment for me that someone who's built something, and we can see it on the road, some product which people are using it. We are going to talk to him. We are going to try to learn about his journey, right? So Yeah, I think that's a nostalgic moment when you would be, of course, seeing your own stations and products being used on a daily basis. Arun, let's talk about raising funds, right? I mean, many of the startup founders out here are in midst of their fundraising journey or are always probably on the lookout to raise funds, right? Let's talk about your journey. Probably there could be some kind of an inspiration for all of us to take. How, like, you've raised funds in the past, probably you're also going to raise in the future and in the near term. What has been your challenges while raising funds and when you meet investors, when you have to pitch to them, etc.? Talk us through those challenges and how do you try to overcome them?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, I'll give you a few disclaimers in the sense that whatever I'm telling, no advice is the right advice. You take whatever is best for you, and if you feel it's wrong, just discard it.
Let us know if we have to cut from the video. So
no, nothing like that. Nothing like that. It's just coming from a hardware automotive founder, and also that it's we haven't raised a lot of money as well. We did about like 5-6 million in total, so not too much as well. There's a whole bunch you can learn. But I think as an automotive and hardware founder, building it here in Hyderabad, a lot of challenges. I think firstly, in terms of storytelling is definitely very, very important. I think painting your vision, painting your what you want to achieve, especially if you're building something really innovative, it doesn't have to, you don't have to have, you can just have some sort of an MVP and or a product. I think Vikrant might support that or like add to that points later, but painting that story really well is very important. I always think now, looking back, that the first money that we raised, we should have invested that into marketing rather than building into R&D, because that's what sort of gives you the visibility that you're doing something, get to more investors, reach more investors and all of that stuff. And in general, personally, this space has been super tough. So we reach out to a lot of investors. We reach out to something like, on average, in every round I cover base, or at least have speak to between 100 to 150 investors, like have a Zoom call or a conversation, not just like reaching out over mail. So, and the market also has been pretty down. So the thing is that in these conditions, you just have to keep going to reach to as many people as possible. You never know what clicks and what doesn't click. And in between rounds, the ideal thing to do, or if you're not raising money right now, the ideal thing to do is keep dropping your investors, whomever you connect with, some sort of an update, some sort of a newsletter. It can be quarterly if you're kind of early stage, just to keep them posted, because you never know when they're looking to invest or when they're interested in something similar to yours. So just keeping that network active of yours and keeping them engaged is very important, and also investors, like Vikrant just mentioned, the very first sentence is they would like to see it grow. They track the progress, they see how your revenues are growing, whether the product is evolving. They like to see that, and some of them might not invest with the first conversation, but would just keep it on hold, get back to you after a couple of quarters, see that growth and then invest. So it is a 24/7 job, honestly, and you should ideally have a second co-founder to either build your product or build your business. I think that's probably more for us, but at least for software startups it could be different. But yeah, I think anything else specific that you want me to address, or been very all over the place?
It could be, if you've faced anything specific, please talk us through that, like any specific challenge or any specific thing that has, what has gone in your fundraising journey till date. With any investor, without any names, but there was a specific thing which it always, remains core to you. Vikrant is laughing, he has a grin.
No, I don't. I think you.
Not only difficult things, but even it could be a smooth thing also.
No, I think we've been really lucky with our lead investor. They've been super supportive and super helpful. Like Vikrant said, it takes more than one round to build a company, and you would require multiple bridge rounds as well in between. To have that ideal investor is important, and honestly, there is no chance to figure out who's the right investor until you get along with them in the journey. It's almost impossible to figure that out. Maybe some references before you take the check with some other startup founders who are in their portfolio could be helpful, but still it could be a very difficult challenge. But yeah, other than that, I think initially at least, I think the early stage, building your network is very important. Today, we can get a connect to any Indian investor. Internationally is where we are struggling. That's where we're finding it a challenge, because most investments in our space, actually anything over a 5 million check in an EV space is not coming from India anymore. It's only coming from Southeast Asia or UK, Europe. These are the markets where people are investing. So all the hard work that I put in, reaching out investors, meeting them, discussing them, is all kind of like gone to waste. And now we are starting from scratch, speaking to international investors. That's where people are investing now and taking a bigger bet into. They have a larger appetite for these kind of businesses, or at least I think the investor market there, they treat a 5-6 million check. They're happy to go like a pre-revenue or early revenue kind of stage. The stage is different for the check sizes in different geographies. So yeah, I think just having a great network, put your word out there, whatever you guys are doing, have a great story. That's very, very important. What you're trying to build. I know a lot of startups, especially to take a few names like Pixel. You have Exponent Energy, which is the fast charging. Then you have Ultraviolet, which is still raising money. They haven't yet sold their vehicles, but they're doing such a great job in terms of showcasing the product, building that community, and all of these companies are doing such a phenomenal job with just painting that story properly to everybody. Yeah.
All right, Arun. So Arun, and this to Vikrant also, as you mentioned about building a network, right? Is it sometimes I feel that founders go into hastily to approach an investor and they try to pitch or send a pitch deck immediately, right? Do you think it's wise probably to also build rapport with the investors and just talk to them normally? Build a relationship with that person, with the investor, and probably once and learn some things, get some feedback rather than straight pitching or doing a cold pitch or a cold email or something like that. How do you take it, Vikrant and Arun, both? Yeah, please.
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for that. It took us a while to get to investors for sure. We did attend a lot of networking events and just trying to just connect and yeah, it's not like we send out the pitch deck right after it, but just have some connect, like okay, just like this is Arun from Race Energy. You say a couple of lines of you just introduce and that stuff, and then if there's interest, the conversation naturally flows. Typically, what I take as a mantra or something like that is that, and I've been told this to me by another investor of ours, if I'm going to a networking event with a lot of investors coming in there, I typically research like who's coming there and then try to identify 4 to 5 investors who would be ideal or who would be interested in our startup. And then I would, if I'm able to connect with those 4 people over there, that's a good networking event for me. And that's generally what I take as a good this thing. But again, I think just you have to keep reaching out and build that rapport. They're not going to invest on, especially because these will be cold connects, right? You normally want it to be sort of a warm introduction. I think once you get your first seed check, that becomes very easy because your first seed investor opens up a lot of doors to connect with the other investors. But before that, your friends and family, your college alumni, these are your networks where you need to tap into. Our alumni has been like, I got like my first 2 or 3 checks because of my alumni. And I don't think there's anybody else to thank because all the networks, all the connections, all the investor connects all came from that side. So you never know what turns up, what works out, but tapping into these networks is the most ideal way to go about reaching out to them.
Let me ask you guys a question. How many of you in the room are founders? Okay, good. And you are founder of a company which is registered as private limited?
Yes.
Some hands. Some were still not registered, but going to be on the path of it. Rest of the guys who didn't raise hands, you are thinking of becoming a founder? Evaluating? Co-founders? Team members? Okay. The reason why I ask is that when we give you answer, then we have to use the demographic, in mind. I'll pick up one or two, words and phrases which I was, hearing and picking. He talked about story. I touched upon story. I'll tell you at the early stage, it is all about story. Because everything that you put in Excel sheet also is a representation of your story. It's not reality. Because you've not converted it into a reality. You've only imagined into your mind. You are a storyteller. You are giving me an Excel sheet as an evidence of what your story is going to look like, but it's not an evidence. Okay? Because you do not have a data point to prove that this would be an actual path that you would take. So when you go to a fund house for funding, or for that matter an angel network, or even at stage earlier to an angel investor, you are taking your business plan, thinking this is your business plan, but it is your story. And he's trusting your ability of how sharp, smooth, and convincing you are in telling your story. That is why 1-4-16 comes in picture. I like your story, I give you 1 unit. Then I see your execution, then I give you 4 units. And then I see your large execution capability, we give you 16. I had a choice to wait and keep listening to your story for 24 months and not giving you a check and give you only directly a 4x check. But we decided to give you 1x check so that I become your partner and start to do a more focused conversation with you, because you come on my portfolio and then I come into your stakeholder. And then there is a stronger relationship between both of us to then not just listen to your story occasionally, but also start to see your performance, identify what are the areas you're very strong at, identify the areas where you're not strong, and what can you do to complement it with somebody else. Here brings the second point. He talked about have one more co-founder who can go and focus. We always face this situation. Many folks come to us and say, I'm a single co-founder of, I'm the founder of the company. And we ask them, okay, who's the co-founder? None, sir. And we say, did you not find one? Don't draw, sir. I asked them saying, where are you searching? We don't know, sir. It's okay. The reason is, I'm okay to, first check with single founder organization. But when you have to become a $100 million organization, can you become a $100 million organization with one founder only? You can, but very rare, right? What's a good number? We don't know the answer. What's a bad number? We definitely know 1 is a bad number beyond a point, and 4 onward is a bad number beyond a point. That's our empirical formula. I'll go back to his advice. What has worked for us may not work for rest. So take it with the pinch of salt, disclaimer giving. Our fund thesis is we do not invest, we call it bucket ABC, which is 1-4-16. Beyond a bucket B onward, we do not invest more money if the founder has not been able to found a co-founder. If he cannot convince another co-founder to join his business, how will he convince more people in future to join his business, to scale his business? Okay, whether it's more clients, more investors, which means his storytelling to attract talent to the level of scale is limited. That is why he's not been able to identify somebody else to share his vision and dream. Right? 20% of a $500 million pie is better than 60% of a $50 million pie. And if people feel I don't want to share it with the co-founder, which means they are always going to have a limited view. That was my second point on picking up the co-founder. After a point in time in the scale, you require more than one co-founder, because one is constantly talking to investor, one is constantly talking to clients, and the third is constantly handling the product and operation. Right? So 3 is ideally good. 3 would also not fight. 4 onward will start to even fight amongst themselves and will do lobby. That's why we say we don't take more than 4 also seriously. Why do you need more than 4 co-founders to drive a 10 crore company, right? So that's a different problem to have, but at least you need more than 1 or 2 co-founders, because you would have expanded role gradually. So you may not start with 3, you may not start with 4, but in your mind, imagine that you would always look to be open to have complementary skill. You are Chief Everything Officer and cannot continue to be Chief Everything Officer when you scale, because there are so many diverse things which will occupy your mind and you will not be able to do justice beyond the point. Okay? So when you are picking the third point about networking, when you are going to meet the investor, if you are a single co-founder, which means you are doing everything half-hearted, because you only have 24 days, out of which 8 to 9 hours are going into your daily activities. You are only left with 15 hours to work, and out of which how many roles you can do. So when you are writing to an investor, you would also do an half-hearted communication. I met you in the event at T-hub. You will write only this. Okay, T-hub does 40 events in a month. Which event did you meet? I also participated in 10 events. What did we speak? Write about it, saying you asked me to write about this story. You will even write a name saying, hi, I am Arjun, met you there. Okay. So put everything with so what condition. Please do not assume that you remember me, but then I would also remember you. Please do little more context to the email so that I can remember that I asked you to send me an email. You're writing me an email, which means I would have given you my card. But please provide little more context. Do some more personalization. If I have spoken so much about my fund and my, then give that context and saying I fit into this category, I fit into this sector. I feel you should invest in me because that's what you said during the session. This is where you will strike the conversation, which is what coming back to the storytelling. Don't do half-hearted approach. Try to write the full story, connect the dot fully. Even today I met 5 guys who came and talked to me, shook hand with me, gave me an update. Assume that I would remember their names, assume that I will remember their company's name, assume that I would remember what was the last conversation. I have 5,115 companies to deal with in my funnel. If you think I remember all of that, you might be thinking I have got superpower. I'm sharing this openly. If I sometime give you a blank look, don't feel bad. Feel that you have not done your job properly to introduce again. And it is your part of the storytelling, not my part of forgetting. You will have to do your part. He said you will have to reach out to 135. Sometime you would have to reach out to same investor also 3 times, 4 times. So 135 also multiplied by 3 will become 400 times for each round. So be mentally prepared. Somebody is giving you money in this environment. He said it is a down environment. I will say no, only tough environment. You are asking money in a tough environment. My money is also coming slowly from behind, right? If my money is coming slowly, then I will also give you slowly. I will do more due diligence. I'm just keeping it light, making it in this fashion. I hope you don't take me light. I will do my due diligence even when I'm giving you early stage capital, but I will ask you right questions. I'll keep asking you right questions till the time you give me the right answer. Because I have got 5,115 companies to look at and shortlist only 30 in a. We are still one of the most active fund in India, right? Rated as number 12 in India to be active. But for me to work with that volume to identify the 30 in a year would require large team. I've only got 1 team member here because I have to do justice with others also. So if I bring 5, then how will we do work? Because we have a large funnel. So what the message here is, sometimes not investors may return your emails. Sometimes all may not find your email connecting. But don't get disheartened. Just write it with little more passion a little more personalization next time. You're bound to receive an answer because they are sitting for the same purpose, but your email have to connect with them. I receive so many email where you're not even writing my name as Succeed. You're sending me an email saying I like to work with Antler. Right? Can you imagine?
Spell the name wrong.
Yeah, you're not spelling the name wrong. You're not editing. You're so careless that you're not even sending me with my
Just
name.
copy paste.
Yeah.
Copy paste.
So would I respond to that email? I respond to that email saying, yeah, sorry, but you're writing to Antler. How will you receive reply from Succeed? So you have to be doing your job, but sometimes you do a half-hearted job because you do not have full number of co-founders doing the job properly. Okay, so more than one founder would also be required, but this is in addition to everything that we talked about, that your business, your product have to be best in class. Okay, so that's a long answer. Sorry for that.
No problem. I think that was hugely, value giving. Vikrant, tell us, you've invested in so many startups, right? Tell us top 3 qualities that you look in a startup founder or that startup also. Overall, what do you look when you are investing?
ये बहुत मुश्किल क्वेश्चन है. Top quality storytelling. Can you tell your story passionately, nicely? Because anything that you will submit to me for a bucket A, which is early stage, will have no meaning for us. So, are you doing something phenomenal, and are you having the ability to tell that to us nicely? Right? We should get that conviction that we are investing into company. If you are a shy guy, don't feel bad, but you may not be the right salesman. Identify somebody who can sell on your behalf. You are good at making product, please make your product nicely, peacefully. But identify somebody who can sell, with conviction. Right? Because the first thing that we would see is, did you come to me with that confidence? Did you present to me equally? I don't want you to have subservient, experiences with me. I do not want to call you me sir, because that's not the relationship. You will always be talking to investors, much larger investors. I would also be even looking smaller in front of you, and you will become a unicorn. It has to be a relationship of parity. And if you are able to demonstrate it with your professionalism, that is more important, right? I came after 20 years of experience in the corporate industry. I've understood that first name is okay. You don't need to be addressed with respect. Respect would come in your behavior, in your professionalism, in your maturity. You don't need to worry about adjectives. So that's the few things which I look. But fact of the matter is and I'm saying all of this because we are talking about early stage category. Most of you are in early stage. If you are coming for a Series A funding, obviously you will work on projections, numbers, traction, CAC, MRR, ARR, efficiency, all that. Then the conversation is on a very different parameter, and your assessment goes into different things, including technical validation. Second thing that we would like to see is, do you have an ability to demonstrate any execution experience? If you are a first-time founder, then I have nothing. Then I will just go with your story. If you are a second-time founder, we would like to see what have you done in past. Failed startup is okay, but that the failed startup gave you experience which you can connect back to this, and are you learning from that by becoming a better startup founder? And that has to come out in your conversation. Third thing which I look at it very, very closely is all your assumptions that you have taken as a part of doing a projection, right? Everybody who says, this is my TAM, SAM, SOM, that is a sheet where I get the maturity. If you are assuming fancy things in the world without having any ability to execute, then to assume you will be able to handle 40% market share from the SOM is unimaginable number for anybody to quote. Okay, those are few signs which we start to feel that okay, the guy may not be able to execute, but we don't reject them. We tell them saying this is unrealistic, right? But what we would, so that famous whether you will pick up horse or the jockey and stuff like that, वो थोड़े philosophical हैं again, but we definitely pick up the guy who has the ability to deliver.
Question out here.
वो बहुत मुश्किल है early stage पे आना. That's why you will talk 2-3 times and take a conviction. Our investment thesis, that's why work with the assumption that we would make few investment bets wrong, and that's why we only give you 1 unit and saying उसके बाद देखते हैं अगर scale करेगा तो आगे 4 unit देंगे.
One question here, just a follow-up question. You said कि TAM SAM SOM में many times founders will make a mistake or they might assume it in a wrong manner. वो 40% of the SAM SOM निकाल देंगे in terms of calculation. This is a doubt I think many founders have, right? People whom we work with also, we are continuously trying to help them how we should do it. Can you tell us as an investor how do you actually find that SOM? जहाँ पे actually they are going to focus on in terms of getting the market share.
देखिए TAM से सबसे पहले जब आप SAM निकालते हैं, so you ask anybody in saying अच्छा who is going to be the customer for this? They'll say all the women.
1.4 billion Indians. वो सबसे common आता है. We are catering to 1.4 billion
We
Indians.
are catering to all. तो ये जो आदमी बोल रहा है, सबसे पहली बात तो उसने जिंदगी में सेगमेंटेशन का कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ा. ऑल द विमेन से शुरू करते हैं. विमेन का मतलब दादी भी है और बेटी भी है, सब विमेन है, राइट? मिडिल क्लास, अपर क्लास, रूरल क्लास, वर्किंग क्लास, सारे लोग आप कवर कर रहे हो. दैट्स हाउ यू स्टार्ट विद द सैम एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट्स रॉन्ग. आपको अपनी डेफिनेशन लिखनी पड़ती है. अ विमेन हु इज इन 30 to 40, हु इज अर्निंग, गोइंग टू कॉलेज, who is going to office, is into XYZ kind of roles, is using these consumer products, is using an Android phone, right? Is doing da 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 da. Like that, आपने 4-5 पैरामीटर लिखने के बाद अगर उसका persona define किया, that's where you will first of all go closer to your customer segment. That out of your TAM would start to give you an actual number. उसके बाद आप जब जो नंबर आएगा दैट्स योर सैम, और उसके बाद आप कहेंगे मैं उसमें से 3% अचीव करूँगा फर्स्ट ईयर में, या 5%, 10% और बट इफ यू से आई विल बी एबल टू अचीव 40%, तो पहले सैम गलत निकाला था, फिर सॉम भी गलत निकाल लिया, राइट? सो दोज आर द थिंग्स, बट व्हेन यू आस्क द क्वेश्चन यू फिगर इट आउट दैट दिस इज सुपरफिशियल वे ऑफ अराइविंग एट एनी नंबर एंड हेंस द एक्सेल शीट इज देन लिंक्ड विद दैट. Okay, so I don't deny that they would do that, but which is why when we said we have 47 incubators that we work with, this is where you work with right incubators. The incubator would probably pay attention to your assessment numbers and things like that, and try to do a decent job to correct it also before it reaches to an investor, right? That's why sometime being at the right place is a good idea. It may not be a fancy place, but as long as they can give you time and look at your business projections, numbers, help you with identify 1 or 2 mentors who can challenge your thought process, connect you with right assumptions, your ability to reach to right business model and attract with good investors would also be better. That's how.
I think that's where LFS also comes into the picture. Maybe थोड़ी marketing करें. So no, jokes apart, but this question is for both of you guys. You all both mentioned that the current investment environment is a little slow. So talk us through that. Like, what is happening? क्यों इतना slow जा रहा है अभी? सब startups यहाँ पे तड़प रहे हैं पैसे के लिए. तो इतना क्यों race
हम भी कर रहे हैं.
He said slow, I said tough.
Tough, slow, tough. So sticking to your own words, but. What do you think is the reason, and what is your perception going forward in the next 6 months, or let's not take 6 months being very short-termish, but maybe a year, 2 years down the line, where do we see this scenario
देखो आप कह
change?
रहे हो कि लोग तड़प रहे हैं पैसे के लिए. I still see people yawning in the room. या तो हम गलत काम कर रहे हैं, या आप लोगों ने हैंड मूवमेंट नहीं किया है. अब कर लो भाई. So and more so when you are sitting in the first 2 rows. Remember, what does stand-up comedian say? If you are sitting in the first 2 rows, remember you would be roasted. So if you are yawning in the first 2 rows and the last row, where the eye movement is direct, you are at the wrong place. अगर आप फाउंडर हो और ऐसे इन्वेस्टर सेशन में और एक्सपीरियंशियल सेशन में यॉन कर रहे हो, इसका मतलब अपनी एनर्जी बार साथ में रखा करो.
That's absolutely true. और funds तो फिर मिलने ही नहीं वाले. सुन ही नहीं रहे हो तुम लोग, तो नहीं मिलने वाले.
No, I mean we are trying to make it fun also on the way, right? So
Yeah, absolutely,
if you see
absolutely.
you yawning, then that's discouraging sign for us.
Yeah, I think that's a very tough question, to be honest. We're not a finance expert or anything like that, but I think one level better answer will come from Vikrant. what I've at least heard is that this is a very strange market. On one side, you've got the Sensex or NYSE rallying like never before, and then on the other side, you see the investor sentiment. By investors, I mean all LPs and everybody who puts in money into the fund. Not even, not just private people who just put into these funds are not at least active. You're not able to raise the same kind of money that we were able to raise back in 21, mid 22, something like that. So coming to us again, Vikrant should probably be able to give you a better answer for that. But coming to us, I think it was always kind of challenging with EVs and because you never know, especially with OEM kind of a story and capex heavy. It was a very difficult story for us to sell. First time founder as well. But I think we did get some seed and pre-series A kind of checks. But eventually, I think right now what's happening is that not only is the market hard to raise, but also I think what we're trying to do right now is how do we sustain ourselves. I think that's become the kind of goal. Every month on month, how do we make it more sustainable? Because raising money has become so difficult. We just need to endure this long enough until we get out of this successfully, right? Whether it's just raising a couple of crores or lowering your burn, taking the tough decisions to let go of people. That's super hard. I was letting go of one person every 2 days. In the middle of this, it's very difficult. We have a team of roughly 150 people. Letting go of people also is not easy. It's like breaking up every single day. That's what it feels like. In a way, you can relate a lot of things as a founder to being in the dating kind of world. You get rejected by investor, don't feel bad, move on to the next person. So that's how it is, and but there's no answer for it. But I think right now the goal for the startup should be reduce your burn, don't spend unnecessarily, focus on things which matter the most. In this journey, by the way, like for us, we went from having a very capex heavy model to being absolutely capitally light. We, as a battery swapping company, the driver doesn't purchase our batteries. So we had to hold onto our batteries on our books. But now we kind of figure out a way, how do we recover the money of the batteries upfront itself, so that we don't have to invest in those batteries, and also how do we solve for the working capital. We talk to our vendors, we talk to our partners and customers, try to get credits, try to get advances, solve the working capital crisis as well. So a lot of things that we try doing. In terms of when this is going to get better, God knows. We hoped we entered the market in March, hoping that this is hopefully get better. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just maybe Vikrant will have a better answer to it. Yeah.
No, I have no better answer. See, we used to call it funding winter. I think it's just continuing. So it's a climate change phenomenon. But I think one good thing which you generally notice is that it has brought frugal way of running businesses back to trend, right? All of us were very, very burn centric. We have now become unit economic centric. We have also become EBITDA positive centric, which is good, sign. If you have learned the art of doing it the Marwadi way, then that's best. If you have Marwadi friends, catch hold of them, get them some more gujia, understand how to get things done in a profitable fashion from day one. It may not be bad, right? You see, any money that you'll keep getting it on the way would be surplus, but try to do that. That's my philosophical side. Coming back to commercial side. Commercial side is India has got about 5,000 fund houses in India, more than that. Okay, download a report of In42, you will find at least 100 most active funds there, but it will give you a list of 3,844 VCs and Ps registered in India. तो 5,000 तो आपके लिए है ना ट्राई करने के लिए, पहले 5,000 को तो ट्राई करो. उनमें से you will have a success ratio of 3% responding to you. तो 5,000 में से 3% तो बहुत है. Second thing is, you are an early stage fund, early stage companies, most of you I'm guessing. Early stage, the winter is not as strong as late stage. Right? I mean, obviously it cascades down to all here. But early stage companies require less than 5 crore rupees at most of the time. आपको चाहिए होता है इनिशियली 1 करोड़ 2 करोड़, वो मिल रहा है, वो आसानी से मिल रहा है. If you are a good company, you will find that. I tell this to all our portfolio company. You will be. I mean, we have seen that most of our portfolio companies who are meaningfully working well are getting follow-on round funding regularly. We have got several companies in our portfolio which have raised pre-series A, series A, 3 million, 6 million, 8 million. Those have been raised. What is the difference? In past, it used to take 3.5 months. Then it started to take 5.5 months. Now it's about taking 8.5 months. Which means 8.5 month के अंदर पैसा खत्म हो गया तो गए, right? तो इसलिए frugal होना important है कि if you are not breaking out in between by the time you get your funds, then you will survive. So as long as you can ensure your unit economics and your books are positive, देखो यार first line वाला फिर से. So as long as you can get your money in the time frame, it's a good idea. What we have also seen is the FOMO factor with which you used to get the money sooner is not there, which means now you are not competing one investor with the other one, right? So most of the conversations are meaningful conversation. If you are solid, if your product is good, if your conversation is good, you will get it. What does it mean? That means is in past when there was a FOMO, everybody, हिंदी में उसके लिए जो phrase है वो थोड़ा disrespectful हो जाता है, तो इंग्लिश में बोलता हूँ Tom, Dick and Harry. हिंदी में उसको कहते हैं गधा घोड़ा सब एक बराबर. But when markets are up, everybody gets the money. When markets are tough, not everybody gets the money, but hero continues to get the money. If you are fundamentally strong, you will get it. So don't feel bad. You're just going to take a little more conversation, little more convincing to the guy, little better sharpened storytelling, and approach your personalization to the investor very, very meaningfully. If you are talking to me, by the way, and if you have not seen my website, if you have not seen my portfolio company, if you don't know that I have a portfolio company in my portfolio which is already doing what you are doing, then you have not done your homework well. Then don't crib that the investor is not giving money, which means you are not doing your job properly. So funding vendor would start to differentiate this Tom and Dick and Harry separately, because the guy who's Harry would come prepared and would do all of this and will do these references to me and saying, you know what, you have a company in your portfolio XYZ, I have a better proposition on 3 parameters, can I come and talk to you on those? Why would you not get an attention from me? Remember, when you go to an interview and you don't even know what the company does, will you get hired? No. But when you go to the interview by looking at my website, talking about the research report which my analyst has produced, and you say I read the research report and these are the 5 points on which I disagree, whether you disagree functionally or not, the fact that you have read the report and you have a view on it, you are bound to get an attention in the interview. All the conversations are same. So the answer in a tough condition is you have to be better prepared. If you are better prepared, you will get the money. It's just that it will come in a little more. So 2 things, if you've never got money, then it's okay, you'll just get it slowly. If you've got money and you have only limited money left, before it dries out, you need to raise the second round of money. Just learn to manage it in the time frame that you will get it longer, right? But money is coming. You know, we ourselves have done 30 investment, 34 last year. And if you look at the top 20 investors, top 30 investors, each of them are doing large numbers. I'm not even talking about platforms. But that may not be extremely large from the market perspective, right? If there are 10,000 startups, how many of them are getting funding? If you do a comparison like that, you would always find come funding over here. बट जिनके लिए फंडिंग हो रही है वो तो हो ही रही है, यू नो, गुड गाइज आर गेटिंग इट, सो ऑल यू नीड टू डू इज डेवलप योर मसल बेटर.
राइट,
तो ये कमर्शियल आंसर था या फिलोसफिकल था?
दोनों सब मिक्स था. ताली बज रही है थोड़े लोग. आपने सबको जगा दिया. So, coming to at least a last question from my side, then we'll open it for from the audience. You know, I've come to Hyderabad a few times. I think this is one of the most vibrant cities, and a lot of buzz around startups going around out here. And I also read that Hyderabad is the fourth best startup ecosystem in India,
Yes.
and 65th globally. So first of all, huge round of applause for Hyderabad. And also, so I would want to know what has worked for the city in the last 5 years. Probably, I think in the last 5 years this has come up very much fast paced. What has worked for the city, and how Hyderabad is going to evolve in the startup ecosystem, not only in India but over the world. From a Mumbaiker to a Hyderabadi.
This building definitely helps. So I think the moment this T-hub launched, for sure, I think we had a lot more investors coming in, just paying a visit, and hey, I'm in Hyderabad, would like to visit. A lot more such conversations happened. But I think over the past 5 years, for sure, it was I remember 2019, 2020 when we were raising, oh, you're in Hyderabad, can you come down to Bangalore? Because a lot of things that we were building were physical, like, you had to experience them or you had to see them. A deck would never do justice to the kind of technology that we were building. So I would typically carry a suitcase, which I cut it out like those gun suitcases where you open it up and there's a gun inside. So we cut out every single technology that we built into different things and then put it in there. And I would, go around with it. The suitcase would go one day before me, then I would take a flight because I can't carry it on the flight. Also, it had lithium-ion batteries and everything. I think it's still in Bangalore. I'm not sure where it is right now. So it keeps moving around, like a Formula One team. The car is moving around and drivers keep going around there. So I had a lot of those things until I think until 2022. I was still doing a lot of these travels to Bangalore, Delhi. But recently, I think things have changed. I think this area has, in general, High-Tech City and Gachibowli has improved a lot. I mean, the road infrastructure is crazy. And these roads we've had for a long time. The outer ring road was from 2010, 2011, and much, I think, around the time of Pune-Mumbai Expressway. Anyway, so I think things are changing for sure. The government is doing, really helping. I don't know how, but like this, infrastructure like this, the T-works, we are having more conversations, we are finding more ecosystems. The networking events are still very small compared to what they are in Bangalore. I don't think we're still there yet. But I've had a lot of good, huge startups like Swiggy, Oyo, have Hyderabadi founders who are now coming back and doing things for Hyderabad ecosystem as well. Because initially they went to Bangalore to build their startup, and now they're all big, and so they're helping this ecosystem as well. So these are just random examples I'm trying to give, but I think that's probably what's helped.
So we've got 70 companies in our portfolio, and about 18 of them came from Hyderabad. Interestingly, only 19 from Bangalore. So that's what I tell people, like, it's neither we are Hyderabad based, so we are investing more in Hyderabad, or we are not even investing less than Bangalore, right? So location has been neutral for us. We are picking up companies across India, Jaipur, Indore, Bhopal, Tamil Nadu, Goa, Kerala. We have got folks from everybody. We have still got a largest chunk from Bangalore and Hyderabad. And that goes to show we are finding good companies in Bangalore too, as well as in Hyderabad. So if you are in Hyderabad, don't worry, till Series A you will not have any difficulty. You will have at least a good solid background. After Series A, in next 4 or 5 years, if all the investors have not done the good job of giving you larger follow-on capital, then you have a reason to think of Bangalore. Otherwise, we are also stepping up our game. More fund houses are coming in Hyderabad. When we had opened up, we had a choice in 2020 to not open it up in Hyderabad. We opened it up in Hyderabad. At least 3 more funds have opened up in last 2-3 years. So more funds. We have even launched a $100 million fund. So there is a larger capital available in future for you guys to offer. If you are doing a good job, you've got investors now who will cut you a 5 million check in Hyderabad. Okay? You don't need to worry about taking a 5 million check from Japan. So
I'm waiting for you to write the check.
So those things are changing in Hyderabad. And as he was highlighting, number 4 city from the startup ecosystem perspective, very active government, good policies, structure like this, an integrated atmosphere of enabling, working, creating in T-Works. For that matter, when we created a gaming sub-fund and when we worked with STPI, Image, COE, we still found interesting, contribution from them. And if the Media Tech Tower comes up as it was imagined, it is probably the second largest in the world after, the way Middle East, as we have heard. And that suddenly would put Hyderabad also on a different base. Hyderabad is still very, very, very known for early stage healthcare and biosciences startups. It's just that not making large enough noises about that, right? I'll give you an example. We got even Your Stories editor to send a journalist to sit in Hyderabad for 7 days, so that senior journalist could start to talk to every founder and publish their story. Can you imagine Your Story sending somebody for 7 days to live in Hyderabad and identify that? Senior journalist kept saying, guys, why are they so shy? We are sitting in TIA, we are sitting in Triple IT, we are sitting in CCMB, but founders are not even coming and talking to us, because the answer which founders were giving to us, if I am good and if my product is good, it will speak on its own. It does not need PR.
How many of you agree to this?
No.
No? So if you think in today's time, you can get the attention of large scale investors without your article talking about it, without Google's, giving you search engine, links. If you're not on SEO, if your thought leadership article is not going, if you're not getting covered, then you won't even appear on Traction. Okay? Irrespective of how good your biosciences journal will cover. Journals will get you attention from from people who will give you innovation grant and stuff. But if you need money from investor, you need to be in Crunchbase, you need to be in Traction, you need to be in those, and you will come there only when there is sufficient noise on the internet about you. So whether you've got first round of funding or not, but if you got the first round of funding is actually not only for you to raise funding. First round of funding is also to get first mention happening in Traction for you, that you got funded and you got funded by XYZ, and then you will get appeared in all the searches. So think of it as a business game. You will have to play this game for 10 years and you're not faking it, but you are playing it. You have to play it. You can't say, अगर मैं अच्छा बैट्समैन हूँ तो मुझे इंडिया टीम कभी चुन ही लेगी. Right? That won't happen. So guys, please play your game. Tough market means better preparedness and better marketing. If you are getting the situation and attention in your town, exploit it. Government is giving you good infra, has given you large, sufficient enabling environment. You are at par with other markets, right? If you go to Bangalore, actually, you find a thriving ecosystem, but you don't find an organized infra. Not the city road infra, the organized infra for startup. You've got an organized infra for startup, right? You just need to use this to create the buzz on your own. And then gradually we will be there. So I think we are sitting on the cusp that in next 2-3 years, if we don't commit any stupid mistake, we will gradually go right. Absolutely, I think that would be wonderful for all of us sitting here. I'm done from my side. Let's open it up for questions from the audience. Who would want to go first? Please do raise your hand, and happy to get you. Yes, sir. Who is your question to? Please tell your name, introduce yourself, and who is your question for, Vikrant or Arun?
You had a better answer for the last which you asked, why Hyderabad is there 5 years
What's your name, sir?
My name is Manikanta.
Manikanta. What's your startup? Do you represent a startup or what?
No, I just came with an idea. I came from Canada. I was born and brought up in Hyderabad itself.
Okay.
I start my journey as a startup in 2009, but I failed it. I was developing a real estate website, but I failed. I don't have any tech background at that time, and that time for building a website, it is bit expensive. Then I could not. I don't have that much money. Then luckily I got to go to US, and but unfortunately again I had a problem there. But I've been there for 5 years. I earned good money and came back, like do for marriage and everything. But I could not. I thought coming back to Hyderabad with enough money to start something, but I could not do it.
Why don't you invest in startups?
That's what that's what happened again. So I failed it. I failed again. I bought some property and I sold them and I started investing in pizza business. But that time I don't feel that people are so passionate about pizza. Then again I failed. Then again I started thinking about I lost all the money.
Okay. What's your question, sir? You can come to the
Yeah,
question.
at the same time. Finally, again I went back in 2009 to Canada, and now I became a Canadian citizen, and I earned sufficient money, and I had an idea where it brings me back to the T-hub, and my friend's company is in 3rd floor.
Okay.
He started it from T-hub. Then I thought I don't have again tech background. I felt T-hub is a good place to find the people, networking. That made me bring back again to do that thing.
Great, sir. Do you have any question?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you for your good
So
introduction.
he said, do you want a better answer of your third last question?
Okay, that was the
Giving
question.
you the better answer.
Okay, please give us a better answer for
That's
the
it.
last.
That's the better answer.
Okay.
T-hub made me bring back here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
If you want sufficient money, you could park in the fund.
See, everyone is here going to pitch. Vikrant will pitch you park in the fund. Arun will pitch you park in the company. They will pitch you park in the company.
Enough filters here before it comes to
I mean, if we invest in the fund, then the fund in any case will invest.
All right,
So
sir.
we are not competing.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, panel. My name is Kaushik Lahoti. I'm a founder of a tech-enabled music academy operating from Kondapur since last 12 years in the offline format as well as in the online format. The goal of my company is to become one-stop solution catering to all aspects of music education. So basically, just like Cult Fit, I want to build the ecosystem of music education which will encapsulate all aspects. My question to you, Mr. Vashni, is mine is a sole proprietorship company right now, and I'm contemplating on once I have like some kind of investor traction going, I want to convert it into a private limited company. I'm actually waiting for, I don't want to get my sister or father or mother or someone to be like one of the directors. I don't see that to be that good a strategy to form a company for whatever the reason. So I would like to have investor coming in and then take the input of the investor to guide me and also probably be one of the directors if that's like the right thing to do. Or I'm contemplating on this topic, but I've heard that like you also mentioned in the talk how many of you have private limited and how many of you have sole proprietorship. So how important it is, would you not invest without the company being the private limited? Or will you give us like maybe like for example if you have to invest in my company,
I understood
will
your
you
question.
give me like a month or something to put it together?
So, will I not invest in your company if you're not private limited? Answer is, I will be open to, but I can only do when you are a private limited.
That's
So I'm okay to do evaluation, but I will release the capital when you become a private limited, so there would be sufficient time for you to convert. Okay? So evaluation would not stop. If you are doing a good business, you can always mention as a part of a pitch that I am open to do private limited whenever investor is bringing their capital. Till the time you don't want to spend money on compliances, that's your easy answer. Don't say I don't want to bring my mummy, papa, brother, because they will say bring co-founder, right? You can simply say, अभी चल रहा है, why increase my compliance expenses when an investor will come in? That's, I know most of the guys are, but I will say whenever you feel that you're okay to run it without even the investor capital, from sole proprietorship, I would suggest move to LLP. It is still a better professionally managed organization. LLP to private limited, people will trust you better and find it equally better. Similarly, your liability as a founder is also less when you create an LLP as compared to a sole founder. Everything is solely on you and your assets could be attached with it. When you run it as a sole proprietorship, LLP is a better structure with lesser compliances. Right? So at some point in time, whether you're looking for external funding or not, as a gradual journey of the founder, you should look at becoming from sole proprietor to LLP. Right?
All right, next question. Yeah.
Just one minute. Yeah, hi, good evening everyone. I am Devansh, founder and CEO of Healtho. Healtho is a unified healthcare platform which we are creating. Our main aim is that we want to deliver any type of healthcare services in less than 10 minutes. So my question is to Mr. Vikrant. I want to know for that. Actually, you said about the units, right? So I want to know about the units. What are the periods of fundraising units? What was it? Thank you.
Okay. When I said 1 for 16 means 1 crore, 4 crore, 16 crore. Or 50 lakh, 2 lakh, 2 crore or 8 crore. Right? One unit is whatever I give you first time.
All right.
क्या चाहते हो 50 लाख से 1 करोड़
ज़्यादा percentage दो. All right, next question. Yes.
Namaskar. My name is Aditya. I'm the co-founder of Civics, which is a fintech company based out of
I like how you said Mr. Varshney. I like it.
And
notice it.
I just have two quick questions, like what type of funds are available for startups, and what is the journey of getting license for VC or like that? Like how do you got license for VC, like VC or something which you get?
There are two questions. First is
What type of funds are available for startups, like angel investors or venture capitalists, family office, thinking something?
I generally take 1 hour session on that.
Do you charge?
No, I do it as a part of master class for increasing the network. But I'll give you a 3-minute glimpse. First, and I actually make it interactive. So आप सारे लोग ही जवाब दे सकते हो. What are the sources of first, startup capital that you guys could do when you launch?
Angel friends and family.
इसे थोड़ा समझ में नहीं आया.
Friends and family.
Bootstrap. मतलब अपना पैसा. Friends and family.
Friends and
Okay, angel. Friends and family में family कौन हुआ?
Not second but
I'm
first.
just asking.
Not second but first way.
Okay, so generally the first check comes from your favorite uncle. Okay, in बहुत सारे cases में favorite uncle will give you first check. So you need to have good relationship with uncles. Right? In some cases, if you're married, it could be your wife's uncle also. So that's an easy money. When I tell people saying if you can't convince your friends and family, then how would you convince investor? So if you've convinced them and they have given money, then you have done the first art of selling it to your friends and family. They would be easier sell, but you've tried your art of selling. Okay? Okay, what are the other choices for fundraise?
Grants.
कितने लोगों को इस रूम में ग्रांट मिला हुआ फायदे में? ये कोई भी तरह का ग्रांट? 3, सिर्फ only 3, 4, 5, only 5 people. You know how much is what is the capital of grants available in India currently, size wise? कितना ग्रांट मिल सकता है पूरा टोटल लगा के बोलो?
From government, approximately 3 crore.
He's telling about the total pool of funds available with the government to invest into startups.
Again, ये एक startup वो तो अगर नंबर बहुत ही arbitrary हो जाएगा मोदी जी टाइप. But एक startup को maximum let's say you said 3 crore rupees. Now if you are a BIREC supported company in a health sciences and all, your number could touch up to 4 crore rupees. इतना grant per startup market में available है. Right? कितने लोगों को इस रूम में 1 करोड़ से ज्यादा का ग्रांट मिला है? 0 hands, right? Out of 5. आपको 50 मिला, right? So अभी आपके पास 3.5 करोड़ की रेंज पॉसिबल है. अगर आप सेमीकंडक्टर में हो तो 3 करोड़. है क्या कोई सेमीकंडक्टर में? So that is one more option. Not many people don't exploit. And interestingly, grant is without equity dilution, right? So there are, by the way, lot many people in a certain segment who would live on grants, and I call them grant parasite. Right? वो 7-8 साल तक ग्रांट लेके ही चल रहा है, कभी वो फाउंडर ही नहीं बनना चाहता, वो इनोवेटर ही बना हुआ है, right? And that something is the difficulty. You have to move out from an innovator cadre to become a founder, क्योंकि जर्नी ऐसी भी तो लेनी है ना. सिर्फ ग्रांट के सारे 6-7 साल निकाल लिया, because those guys are thinking के अरे मैं मार्केट में जाके नौकरी करता तो 30 लाख की मिलती, यहाँ 50 लाख रुपए पर एनम के हिसाब से 6 साल में 3 करोड़ का ग्रांट लिया. This is better, right? So don't do that. You are spoiling your premium time by just living on grants. So don't be parasite. Try to be founder, not an innovator. Because by being innovator, you won't get anything, drastically different. What are the other sides of funding? Being little more creative. Crowdfunding. Okay. Which platform, let's say, would you try for crowdfunding? General answer.
There are many
Kickstarter and Type. Okay. Would you take money from Type? No. Okay, that's the answer. Okay. What are the other options?
Customer funding.
Customer funding. That's an innovative way of taking capital. How would you take that capital from customer?
invoice funding.
है ना? ये B2B वाले लोग. Can you take money from customer in B2C? Crowdsourcing. You can. You have to be innovative. Right? On a crowdsourcing platform, you can sell your product without selling it, take the money and saying, I will manufacture it later. You will give them discount, and that's cost of raising money from them. What else? Angel investors. I'll just take 2 more minutes, right? But see, everybody is giving an answer. What else? Debt funds. जैसे? उधार मांगने वाला.
NBFCs you mean? NBFCs banks ऐसा?
So he is talking about taking money from market lenders. Okay. So unregulated lenders, not the formal lenders, right? कितने % पे उठाते हो ब्याज?
मैंने अभी तक 12% पे उठा लिया है.
पर एनम. बहुत अच्छा. बहुत बढ़िया. लोगों को जरा बताओ कहाँ से मिल रहा है?
सबको इंट्रोड्यूस करो यहाँ पे.
Okay. That kind of money generally comes at 18 to 24. If you are in a full movie making production business, 36%. Okay. So that's the rate at which capital gets sourced from lenders. What else?
Debentures. I said no.
ये तो investors से आ गया. Angel investors giving you different instruments. We are not talking about instrument. We are talking about fundraise type.
Corporate
बैंक
venture
लोन.
capital.
कितनी देर के बाद किसी इंसान ने बैंक लोन बोला? सोचो, that is the share of market for bank loan. That is the contribution banks are playing to startup ecosystem. आप लोगों के पास मतलब इतना प्रोब करने के बाद बैंक लोन निकला. So that is the role banks are playing in the startup ecosystem. और कितने दिनों के बाद लोन देते हैं और कितने अमाउंट देते हैं?
100% FD collateral. If you get below 100% FD as collateral, you are doing phenomenally.
So in bank loan, mostly it's mortgage against the security, and a startup founder does not have security, right? उसके पास तो एक लैपटॉप है, ऑफिस भी नहीं है, वेयर हाउस भी नहीं है, इवेंट भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है. तो एक लैपटॉप पे क्या फंडिंग दे देगा? That's why they don't give you funding.
I got an offer where I had to put 11 lakhs in FD. I will get 10 lakhs as loan.
Sorry, so I'm not here to demarket them, but I'm just telling you the state of affairs. So that is an option, but discounted option. Okay, what else?
Dowry.
Huh?
Corporate venture capital.
ये अच्छा सब creative लोग हैं.
So these are the answers to your questions, sir. Right? Yes, that was the answer to the first question.
Don't take the last one, right? Seriously मत लेना.
The first one also had money from angel investors, money from angel network, money from micro VC funds, money from VC funds, and money from incubator and accelerators who are offering you funds alongside as a part of incubation and acceleration, which is coming from DSP or MIT. ओके, तो ये सारे चैनल्स से आप पैसा रेस कर सकते हो। अगर आपने नहीं किया है तो यू आर नॉट ट्राइंग योर लक प्रॉपर्ली। थोड़ा थोड़ा हर जगह से लेते रहो। दिस इज रेसिंग कैपिटल इज लाइक बिल्डिंग मसल। You will have to keep building your muscle regularly. On one fine day, if you think you will go and raise money 4 crore rupees, if you have not raised 40 lakh rupees, if you have not raised 2 lakh rupees, you have not built your muscle. You won't be able to go and build in one go. So please raise smaller capital regularly, because even with regular small capital, the guy will keep on asking you right questions, and you will get sharper with your answers. By the time you will reach to raise 4 crore rupees, you would have sharpened your skills of fundraising. That's my message through this. हर जवाब को देते देते आप फाइन ट्यून हो जाओगे. To your question of how much the licensing journey takes, depending upon if you are taking license from SEBI or GIFT City, the answers are very different. He is recording. I will talk to you later on, and I'll give you answers. It generally takes anywhere between 3 months to 14 months. Okay, and for different type of licenses, there are different processes. We took the license for AIF Cat 1. During COVID, we got our license in 2.5 months. But before submitting our application, we had to prepare an application which took us 7 months. Okay, so there is an application time and then there is a preparation time. But वो startup के साथ भी होता है, right? जब आप business plan बनाते हो उसमें भी तो time लगता है, it's similar.
All right. One last question, then we can, of course, you all can ask questions then in the networking session. Yeah.
Hi everyone. This is Vishal, and my question is to Mr. Vikram.
उनको ही पूछ लो.
This question is
I am in the same pool as them only.
So I am the founder of Destiny.
ये देखो यही होता है, आप लोगों के सामने एक सक्सेसफुल फाउंडर बैठा हुआ है,
Humility.
उसकी जर्नी से भी आप लोगों को you have to learn.
लक्ष्मी आपके पास नहीं इसलिए.
I am in the same pool as them. Just one step.
सब ready होते हैं answer. कुछ नहीं करते.
चलो अच्छा है, देखो see this is what the atmosphere got lightened, right? You're not now
Yawning.
yeah, and not yawning anymore. Please, yes, tell me.
So I am the founder of Destiny. It's a Vedic Research Institute organization. We have recently launched Destiny.ai. It's available in Play Store, Google Play Store. So it's an astrology plus LLMs app.
इसलिए लक्ष्मी की बात कर रहे हैं. टीका भी है ना man?
Yes, so it's astrology plus LLMs app. LLM app. And recently, last 2 weeks back, we have launched in Play Store, Google Play Store. We got 70% accuracy, and down the line we are going to improve it 90%. Till we अभी तक क्या हो sir? While we are in the POC stage, no investor has trusted us because we don't belong to any other industry. कोई भी specific industry में नहीं जाता. Recently, Astronauts have defined themselves as a spiritual tech. That's a very recent thing. Before that, there was no spiritual tech or anything related to this astrology. Now, we have solved a major problem within that industry. जो है biased prediction, जो हुआ था cricket World Cup के time पे, right? Hope you guys have remember. India जीतने वाली थी बोल रहे थे astrologers, right? So the astrology subject जो है वो हम लोग direct करने वाले हैं to the users without the human intervention, and we got the 70% accuracy on average.
Is this a elevator pitch? What's that question?
So my question is, how do you evaluate the startups based upon the other than the co-founders? Other than the co-founder, I have the co-founder as well. But right now we are also applying for the patents. So what are such parameters? What are such parameters do you see even other than the co-founders to evaluate the startups?
So obviously, we also don't invest in spirituality tech category.
However, ask the gentleman from Canada.
I don't even invest.
However, I will give your answer in a generic fashion. Okay? In categories like this.
ये sorry just to interrupt, ये comedy nights with LFS नहीं बनना है ना?
We have integrated with LLM. वो भी बोल.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
See, your product would have merit. We would purely, based on how much is the opportunity, we will invest.
Yes.
Now, till the time you start to see traction on App Store, if you are a B2C, the easiest way for us to start tracking your performance would be ARR,
Yes.
MRR, right? How many people are returning to your web application? How much time are they spending on it? What's the size? How much is the engagement? Which will give us an initial feel that people are liking it or not, right? Rating, subjects, and all of that. If they start to also pay for your monetization and stuff like that, that would be my early sign कि हाँ monetization भी शुरू हो गया. वहाँ से अगर आपके plan suggest करते हैं how you would grow the monetization, convert them to a larger volume. Those are the early signs for me to take a initial bet on it. If you are obviously doing larger numbers, if your Play Store numbers already suggest you have got a good traction, every fund house would start to take you seriously. So even if it's an early category, देखो early category के दो चीजें होती हैं, फायदा भी है नुकसान भी है. फायदा ये है कि आपको फर्स्ट मूवर मिलेगा. By the way, आप फर्स्ट मूवर नहीं है उस कैटेगरी में. There are several players now in the spirituality category, religious category, whatever you call that. At least India में मेरे को ही 40 से ज़्यादा वो पता है businesses जो spirituality category में. But it is still much lesser than any other category, which means everybody has a fair chance of making it to large potential. So you've got the advantage, but you've got the disadvantages कि उस segment के लिए established players नहीं है, and hence you might have to take your first offer for capital from angel networks, and it's okay. Uncle, find the uncle.
I think we had a very similar this thing. Obviously, even with EVs, 99% of the investors don't have a thesis, and you're talking battery swapping and stuff which investors don't understand. So it was, we would barely get any conversations. We would barely convert any conversations. We got one successful conversion for seed, literally one until we started making revenue. Last year, between the time we started generating revenue, this is the first time we're going out to raise a round. But whatever thesis it is, whatever it is, the only answer that defines an investment, defines the success of a company is not how much money you're raising, but is whether the market is paying for that or not, like whether you're able to succeed in the market. So as long as you can show that, every thesis kind of goes to a fly. And we had that problem, like I said, 1 out of maybe 10 conversations we would take it forward. Right now the conversion is 50%. I think conversation starts off, I don't understand battery swapping, everything, and then I show the growth rates and everything, and automatically the conversation, this is interesting. We find what you're building is interesting. We would reconsider our thesis and get back to you. These sort of conversations have happened a lot of times. And people who passed on us, in the last round, done the same thing, reached out, showed the numbers, and then they said they'll leave it. It doesn't work out, but at least they're considering reevaluating the thesis based on your success. So that's something that changes.
Again on numbers.
So
Focus on
whatever early traction you can show is a good idea.
Yeah, we are on the beginning trends, right?
Good.
But we have started.
हमारे लिए लक्ष्मी जी से पूजा करो.
All right, thank you guys. So before we move out of this hall and before we start networking over snacks and tea and coffee, I'll quickly run you through our presentation. Let me do a little bit of our marketing also. Yeah, please. So I won't take more than 5 minutes, and then we are open to start networking. So this is Lakhani Financial Services. We are an investment bank which helps startups to raise funds from our network of investors. That's what we do. Over the last, that's our total 6 years of LFS, but in the startup ecosystem, it's been over 3.5 years odd, where we have been completely into the startup ecosystem and advised them and helped them raise funds. We've done approximately 18 crores plus kind of investments and helped 300 plus startups totally, advise them and raise funds for 18 startups. What we do is we try to give a very personalized service, as Vikrant was mentioning, how someone can really get associated with a startup for the long term, can help them to not only raise funds, but get them raised funds from the right investor, get them associated with the right mentor, help them to craft their business strategies and the business plan, in a very, very efficient manner, and take them to the right set of investors to try to, raise funds. It's not always that the fundraising will be successful. we fail, often we fail more than what we have succeeded in terms of raising funds, to be honest. So that's a story what you all face, and we face the same thing for, many of our startups. So it's a part and parcel, but, it's small successes here and there, helps the startups, helps us, helps the entire community to grow together, right? So that is what we do. This is our small team, and we are growing. Lilesh is here with me. He handles the investment part, investor outreach and investor, connection part basically. And so we have these are few of our portfolio companies for whom we have raised funds. We are a sector agnostic firm. We work with all kinds of sectors. From health to agri to sports to education, etc. We work with all kinds of startups, having worked with 300, 350 plus. So they've included all kinds of, even probably spirituality also. So we work with all, these are a few of our partners with whom we've tied up in terms of getting, good value addition to all the startups that we work with, so that somewhere other than capital we can, and other than strategic advisory, we can help them with these kind of small stuffs. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you. Short and sweet. Thank you. Let's break for networking.